Hello. Using design thinking, our group, Ryan, Yoon, Katrina, and Matt, was tasked to enhance the aging in place experience for elderly. We started with interviews, created point of view and how might we statements, and developed and iterated on a prototype. The following presentation will take you through our steps and provide some insight into one of our most precious problems. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention defines aging in place as the ability to live in one's own home and community safely, independently, and comfortably, regardless of age, income, or ability level. Research shows that baby boomers, people born between 1946 and 1964, are living longer lives. While most want to remain in their home until death, they are faced with increasing mental, physical, emotional, social, and financial challenges along the way. A major theme that was discovered in our research is their desire to maintain independence despite risk accidents, frailty, and low confidence in balance and strength. Our first project toward enhancing the aging in place experience for the elderly was to gather as much information as possible through an interview process we created. It was important for us to build a rapport with our interviewees and make them feel as comfortable as possible. We believed only then would they provide us with the information we may find useful. In addition, we wanted to avoid binary or linked questions and really wanted to enrich stories. So we developed a structured interview guideline. First, we introduced the project and provided a few warm-up questions such as, could you tell me your name and how old you are? Please describe for me your current residence and surrounding community. How many years have you lived at your current residence? Does anybody live with you? These questions were developed to get the interview juices flowing. The warm-up section was then followed by solid topic subsections such as reasons to stay in current home, challenges living in current home, senior living communities, and finances. We would then use what we found in our interviews to develop a composite character profile. Our interview results were plentiful. We expected some answers, but were surprised by many others. Some key findings were as follows. Elder generations want to maintain the same social and active lifestyle they have been living. They feel lonely when family is not around them. They prefer to maintain a daily routine. Some of their needs were as follows. They needed to feel secure when leaving family behind. They needed to feel they are part of a community. They needed to understand technology and be able to utilize it. This led to some of our insights. They are concerned about leaving enough money to their family when they pass. They do not want to be a burden on others, specifically those they care about. They want to feel understood and appreciated by younger generations. Their need to socialize and be part of a community is a high priority. Katrina will now discuss our composite character profiles.
Thanks, Matt. Meet Julie, the socially active elder. Our composite character, Julie, is 75 years old, and Julie lives at home with her husband, Sam, who's very ill. Julie is able to take care of Sam, and they've been married for 50 years. She's very independent and fears becoming physically and financially dependent on others as she continues to age. Julie currently handles all financial decisions for her family's well-being. She lives below her means and dreams of being able to pass on wealth to her children and grandchildren after she has passed. Technology tends to frustrate Julie, and she wishes it were easier with the constant changes that they face. Julie is able to exercise moderately and can still drive herself around. While she maintains this independence through an active lifestyle, she's beginning to see that she will soon no longer be able to do so on her own. Our Julie is aging in place. Our detailed character persona, along with the key findings that Matt reviewed, enabled us to develop a strong POV. We learned along the way that the elder generation wants to maintain the same social and active lifestyle they have been living, and they want to do so in their homes. However, they are aware that health issues will eventually make them less active and less independent. The findings and insights assisted in us developing a solid POV. We selected an elderly married woman, needs a way to maintain her in-home comfort and independence because she values community and intends to maintain her independent living at home for as long as possible. This POV incorporated the key themes that came up during our interview processes: the need for technology assistance, the impact of social engagement, the desire for connectivity and interaction with other seniors, and a sense of community. So, we have our character composite profile, Julie. We have our POV. So, how might we help Julie best age in place? Our how might we statements focus on enhancing Julie's desire to be social, a part of a community, more connected, and, very important, comfortable with technology. Our final how might we is how might we immerse Julie in new social and technological environments while simultaneously improving her sense of comfort and independence at home? We chose this how might we statement due to its inclusiveness of the broad improvements needed to prolong Julie's ability to age comfortably in her home, as well as the narrowed emphasis on social and technological factors. So now that we have a firm POV, we have a firm how might we statement, we needed to brainstorm ideas to resolve the aging in place concern. As a team, we came up with over 50 ideas to best help Julie. They range from developing software to track Julie's financial and physical health, to developing a fraud alert system for the elderly, to getting Julie a Tesla. Talk about independence. We narrowed that list down to our top 5 ideas, the first being an in-home fitness training program. This would allow seniors to meet with personal trainers for in-home exercise routines on a weekly basis. And it would also include a system of exercise goals and a nutritional diet for the senior to follow. Our second top idea was elderly technology demonstrations. We would create a youth organization and they would conduct technology demonstrations for the elderly on a biweekly cadence. This could be done through a combination of videos and hands-on demonstrations, both at community centers as well as in the seniors' homes. Third, we came up with a senior citizen summer camp. We would create a camp that seniors could attend that's very similar to youth summer camps. However, the camp classes would encompass a focus on learning about technology while also having fun and experiencing unique activities during the day to promote socialization, one of the seniors' desires. Fourth, we considered holding community program senior sign-up events. These events would be hosted on a recurring basis, and we would invite various local and national organizations to have booths. Some examples are the Girl Scouts, the Red Hat Club, local high school clubs and teams. And the seniors could learn about different organizations, join ones that interest them, and even volunteer at others. The fifth idea is the one that we unanimously selected as our prototype. And Ryan will take you through an overview for our in-home social engagement program for seniors.
Thank you, Katrina. So, our fifth and final idea was in-home social engagement for seniors. This process involved having the seniors call and set up an appointment with one of our engagement specialists. The engagement specialist would then arrive to the senior's house and they would greet the senior. They would then help with any chores or tasks that the senior cannot complete around the house. This would then, in turn, lead to an activities section. The activity section can vary depending on the week, and multiple activities could be done in one session. Different activities include light fitness activities to promote a healthy lifestyle. Additionally, we could have technology tutorials to teach the seniors how to use certain technologies such as a computer, a laptop, TV, tablet. Additionally, they could also work with new and fun technologies such as VR headsets. The last activity that we thought up was different games for the seniors to play. This would keep them socialized with the specialist and additionally would provide them stimulation. After this, the specialist would then talk with the user and set up the next meeting and then depart. After determining our prototype, we then had to give it back to the users to test and get their feedback to see what they liked and disliked. We had a few questions that we wanted the users to answer for us. Questions ranged from all over the place to primarily what activities did the users like, how long did they feel the sessions should be, and whether or not the users wanted other seniors present while they were conducting these activities. So, from our feedback from the users, we determined what worked, what didn't work, what questions they had that we still needed to answer, and we came up with new insights and bright ideas. So, first, we'll start off with what worked. The primary thing that the users liked was the technology tutorials and the socialization aspect and sense of community that can be brought about by this program. So, with the technology, the users felt that they were out of touch with the world because they didn't know how to use certain technology and know different forms of communication that these technologies provided. They also felt discouraged when they couldn't use the technology that everyone else seemed to use so easily. Additionally, the users really liked the socialization aspect of the program. They liked being able to talk with new people, and they liked getting to share their ideas and just be social and feel a part of a community. The things that they primarily had issues with was time management. We originally budgeted our sessions to last 3 hours. However, for seniors, this was too long of a time. So, in our discussions, we decided to reduce that from 3 hours to about an hour and a half to 2 hours, as the seniors felt that this was a much more sustainable time and that they would not get tired from an hour and a half as they would from 3 hours. Additionally, seniors felt slightly worried about the potential of having strangers in their home. While the specialist was one thing, if other seniors were to be invited to this program, seniors that they did not know, they didn't necessarily feel comfortable welcoming 4 new people into their home. So they wanted a way that they could necessarily meet these people outside of their homes, or if these people could be vetted prior to having them come into their homes. Their biggest questions they had were cost and the number of people who would be coming in. Cost is hard for us to determine right now, obviously, as we are so early into this prototyping and design phase. There is no good way for us to determine what an accurate cost would be at the moment. However, some ways that we could reduce cost would be to look for government funding through social programs for elderly care, and additionally potentially look at getting insurance to cover parts of the cost of this program. The second question that a lot of people had was how many people would they be having in their home? And this was something we really wanted to focus on our feedback and get an idea of what they felt comfortable with in their home. But so from our feedback, we determined that users didn't want more than 6 people in their home. That was a lot. And ideally, they wanted more in the 3 or 4 range. And they didn't want to feel overcrowded. They didn't want to feel too uncomfortable. They didn't want to feel as if they were hosting a giant party. So this led to a few ideas for us as to how we could improve our prototype and ways that we could give the user more of what they wanted. So the first idea we had was that we allow families into the initial meeting with the specialists, that family and friends could be there to provide the user with a sense of comfort and security as they had their session. Additionally, we came up with the idea, as opposed to having other users come to the meetings with the specialist at a user's house, we would have an individual group session at a public place that all the users could attend, that would have all the specialists, So this way they could still get that sense of community and socialization without having to welcome multiple strangers into their house. Using this feedback, we iterated on our prototype and we divided our prototype into two separate sections. The one-on-one session with the specialist and a group session with all the users and all the specialists. So what our prototype now looks like is we still have that one-on-one meeting where the specialist comes to the user's house. The specialist helps with tasks around the house. The specialist would then conduct fun with technology sessions and the fun tutorials to teach the users how to use technology. And they'd still get a sense of socialization on a more private relationship level. The user would then set up the next meeting with the specialist, and they would leave. Later in the week, they would have a group session for all the users to attend. What would happen in this group session is everyone would arrive. People who could drive themselves would drive themselves. Users who could not drive would be shuttled through a shuttle service to the event. There would then be multiple different activities that the users could work with. There would be light fitness activities such as yoga or walking or yard games, something that wouldn't necessarily exhaust the users, as this was a concern that they expressed during their feedback. Additionally, there would be different games that all the users could play together. And then lastly, we'd have more refreshments and socialization just to keep the users entertained and just to give them a sense of community. Then they would all leave and prepare for their next one-on-one sessions. So what's next with this program? With this program, we would now take our new and iterated prototype and bring it back to the users for more feedback. Using this feedback, we would then iterate on our prototype and figure out what ideas worked and what ideas didn't. Some questions that we now have focus more along the lines of which ideas do the user like? Do they like the group session at a public place? Would they prefer that we have the group sessions at their house so they don't have to travel? Should we focus entirely on the one-on-one sessions or focus entirely on the group sessions? These are all questions that we would have to determine through more user feedback. From those answers, we would then go back, iterate on our prototype, or potentially redesign the entire POV and brainstorming. Looking back on our experience, we determined that design thinking is truly a useful tool for solving problems, especially wicked problems. This problem was definitely wicked. Solutions varied in effectiveness depending on the user. Additionally, there were multiple solutions, each of which had unforeseen consequences. We were surprised by how much users wanted to stay in their own home and maintain their lifestyle, but not be dependent on others to maintain this lifestyle, even as they aged and it became harder and harder. We can apply design thinking to our everyday life by questioning everything that we see and that we think we know. Additionally, we can share empathy with users to gain insights. These insights can then be used and applied throughout our lives, from things such as defining a position and training for a new job to how you prepare for your week by doing things such as laundry and cooking. In conclusion, we used design thinking to solve the problem of aging in place. We created an interview guide which allowed us to gather feedback from users. We then used this feedback to generate a POV and then generate prototypes. We then picked a prototype, gave it to the users to create more feedback. Using this additional feedback and new insights, we iterated on our prototype and settled on a two-session solution. One which provided a one-on-one session with the user that allowed the users to still get that help they needed in-home, and an additional session that was communal that allowed the user to get that sense of community and socialization with other users. In conclusion, we have determined that design thinking is truly a useful tool for solving problems in all aspects of life. Thank you and have a good day.